辛いの？苦しいの？でも大丈夫、大丈夫、大丈夫だよ。もうすぐそこに行くから、あなたのそばに行くから。私が行くからね。風と雲が遊んでる。青い空を見つめている。
Private Nurse is a visual novel game developed by Angel Smile and distributed stateside by G Collections, who now fall under the Peach Princess umbrella. It's for ages 18 and up due to sexual content, and quite a bit of it. However, despite the fetish implications of its title, Private Nurse proves to be much more than an image run-through. You play as a young high school student named Hiroki. Hiroki has a rare, rather obscure illness that often leaves him in pain and limits him physically. Because of this illness, he's grown up rather faint of heart and sees the future to be rather hopeless. That is, until one day, a strange woman in an odd nurse outfit shows up on his front doorstep. She introduces herself as Maria, a private nurse who's been hired to take care of him. Hiroki, assuming it to be the doing of his ever-absent mother, is initially against the idea and decides to give Maria a deadline to prove her worth within a week, with her potential job on the line. So begins the day-to-day happenings in Private Nurse. The lead heroines include Maria, Hiroki's motherly private nurse that assures Hiroki that she can heal his sickness, and Ayano, Hiroki's childhood friend with whom he's had a brief relationship with before. There's also Miss Sasho, who's the dull, spiritless school nurse who Hiroki is forced to see very often during his many trips to the school infirmary. But her story feels admittedly far less inspired and focused than the other two. The story is quite simple, but it does a good job of setting up the likable, attractive characters into emotionally charged, though often predictable situations. The voice actresses also deserve a pat on the back, as they do a good job of bringing more life to the characters. Though I have to admit that Maria's overly cheerful voice did begin to irk me after hearing it for so long. Most of the music in the game is piano solos, but I actually found that to be a good thing. It suits the peaceful, relaxed tone that the game carries, saving the slightly more dramatic and upbeat tracks for important events. It's also worth noting that most of the game is character development that moves at a relaxed pace, so be sure to adjust your expectations accordingly. The art in the game is quite nice and stylistic. The colors are vibrant and abundant. There's also quite a number of art pieces in the game, though most of those are devoted to the erotic scenes with the girls. Despite what the title would lead you to believe, this game doesn't have any naughty bits in the early parts of the game. In fact, nothing of the sort happens until at least roughly the last third of the game, no matter what scenario you choose. The game really does focus on Hiroki's plight and the characters for the majority of the game. For those just looking for something to tickle their nurse fancy, well, there's plenty of that too. Just expect to be waiting a while. While most of Private Nurse is candy and roses, it does have its faults. First and most glaring to me was the lack of an auto-read feature. This is a standard in these games nowadays, and while Private Nurse isn't brand new, it's still a glaring omission. Not only is there no auto-read, but the keyboard can't be used to advance the story at all. Go ahead, try pushing enter to advance the text. Anything? Nope. So instead you just have to click the mouse, over, and over, and over, and over, and over again. There is an auto-skip feature that runs through previously read dialogue, but it still takes forever. See, the game doesn't rush up expression transitions, the day changes, and most annoyingly, the occasional image with text that's automatically synchronized up with the voices, so that you can't skip it. It's actually a really nifty effect the first time through, but for later playthroughs, they're just plain annoying. It's like, Maria, just shut up and let me go on with the game. In a nutshell, I would label Private Nurse as one of the better games of its kind available on the English-speaking market. The art and music are both quality, and well suited to the game itself. The characters aren't rocket science, but they're interesting enough to get into. The story isn't amazing, and Hiroki's illness is sometimes annoyingly ambiguous, but it has good themes and high-point drama. You can also expect Ayano and Maria's scenarios to last at least 10 hours plus each, provided you read everything. The gameplay conventions are a bit lacking for a game of its type, but it doesn't feel like a budget title. Private Nurse manages to stand above average in most categories without blowing you away in any single aspect. While there may be more well-rounded games out there, it's a title I'd recommend to just about any fan of the genre.